All right, we are live. I'm joined by Mr. Matt-Trakker himself, Doug Stone. How you doing today, Doug?
Hanging in pretty well. Yourself?
A little sore. Actually, we're renovating a couple things in the house, so it's good to sit down for a little bit and take a break from it and talk a little M.A.S.K with you. But we can't have a conversation together without talking a little hockey.
Right.
And to start the free agency period, other than the Kings losing Lucic, there's
Yeah.
been nothing really with our teams, the Kings and the Flyers.
No.
But
Matt Green was also dropped from the Kings.
yes,
But,
yeah, I don't think they brought back Luke Shen either. But no, they didn't. I don't think so. No, they let him go. But it's been very quiet so far.
for us. But
For us.
Yeah.
But the trade 2 days ago, Weber for Subban.
Oh,
Subban
yeah.
was a very big part of Montreal's society,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently he didn't get along very well with the coach. And at that point, you kind of got to think maybe we'll get rid of the coach. But it really speaks volumes when a team is upset that they got Shea Weber. So
Yeah, it tells you how good the other player was. Yeah.
correct. So I've always wanted Weber on the Flyers. Hopeful, but no.
Oh, any team I think could welcome him. Certainly, I'd like to see him on the Kings. There's no doubt he's a high tier player. He's terrific.
He reminds me a lot of Rob Blake, just with a harder shot.
Yeah.
So the Flyers signed Dale Weiss. I don't understand the signing, but uh, whatever else Hextall has in mind, we'll go with it. So yeah, it's not too bad. You can see the Flyers jersey hanging there. It's got autographs from the team.
Oh, cool.
I ran out of wall space, so I had to use the ceiling in my office, and you can see
Oh yeah.
you can see Bernie Prump banner hanging there,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's John LeClaire and Danny Briere over there, two hats. So
I've got I don't have
yeah.
them on my office. I don't have anything much on my office walls right now. But all I really have, I have an Eddie Shack, and I have from oh gosh, what were those brothers called from Slap Shot?
The Hanson brothers.
I have a Hanson brothers photo.
Yeah,
So, not a lot
they
of hockey paraphernalia, but some.
they do some pretty cool stuff. They go around and they're still the Hanson brothers, and
Yeah,
they do like a game with you can I guess you hire them,
right.
and they come in and you know perform their act. They
Yeah,
fight. They'll go after the refs and uh, you know
it's like the Harlem Globetrotters of hockey kind of thing. That comedic.
yeah, but you get to play with them now,
Yeah,
which is the really
cool.
cool part.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're actually any good at hockey,
Well,
but
they used to be. I mean, only one I think ever played NHL. One of them did for a little while, but they played upper echelon
okay,
hockey. They just never broke into the NHL. That's my understanding, anyways. That they
okay,
played in some pretty good leagues. So they're good players, or used to be.
yeah. I didn't know too much about them
Yeah.
growing up, other than from Slapshot.
Well, because of Slapshot, I ended up looking them up and sort of researching to see because they seemed like they could skate, but you can make anybody look good in a movie. But when I researched them, I was surprised to find, oh wow, these guys were for real. They were actually big fighters back in the international league and the so and so league and the other league, and they did all the minor stuff. And the
Yeah,
one who wasn't actually a brother, I think, but became a brother for the sake of the film, he actually did NHL. He did play in the NHL for a short period, I believe.
he was the ringer.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah, I want to. If they ever come around in the area, I want to check it out. I think it'd be fun. What's happening?
I
Okay,
want to know
sorry.
why the Kings. I want to know why the Kings didn't pick up all these left wingers. Jersey, I can't pronounce his name. Ox. Did he go to Jersey? Ox Paykick or whatever. But there's been a bunch of signings in the last day or so, major signings. And
Well,
what
yeah, I
happened
mean,
to Kings, I don't know.
no, that's all right. The Oilers traded Taylor Hall
Yeah,
for
from Marcy.
probably like a number 3 defenseman, really, to be honest, like on any team.
But I think they did it to make money room for Lushik.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of odd that we're not really seeing anything, but that also stands to what Hextall's been doing and standing pat and believing in the future.
Yeah.
But there's still gaping holes for the Flyers on wing. Like they have no left wings at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got?
We're short one winger and two defensemen is what we're really dying for, and we need a backup goalie now.
Yes. Reimer went to the Panthers for 5 years.
Pretty good contract you got. Yeah.
Nielsen, the Red Wings.
Yeah.
Backus with the Bruins.
Yeah. Good pickup because he'll fit with their game.
Yeah, they're not the big bad Bruins anymore. They're
still blue collar. They like to think blue collar, and he's kind of a blue collar player, so I think he'll fit their locker room.
Yeah, those are some of the bigger signings. I mean, but this also was like a really bad class of free agents too. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the rest of the day goes. I'm still hopeful that the Flyers bring in somebody on the left wing. Yeah. And maybe the Kings will actually bring in somebody to help on defense. They did sign a backup goalie, Jeff Zatkoff.
Oh, okay. I don't think I heard that.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah. He's a minor leaguer.
And Tom Gilbert.
They traded for a goalie, but it was somebody who was struggling. I thought it was somebody they're probably going to put in the minors to try to season him up. So I don't know if he's ready to be a backup to Quick yet.
No, we'll see. We'll see. Let's see here. I'm just trying to make sure there's nothing else big.
In the way of hockey trades, hockey stuff, I think Allen or Hall and Subban were really the majors. Subban's
crazy.
It's going to be interesting to see what Subban does in Nashville. I still think he's going to help. I think he's going to help them with the PR there. I think he's going to be good for hockey in Nashville. He's
definitely
such a big personality.
I mean, he's great for the game. I mean, I hated him as a player because of some of the playoff series with the Flyers, because he would just skate circles around everybody. But as a person, he does a lot, and it's going to be interesting to see how he meshes in, especially with Peter Laviolette being his coach. He doesn't really take. He's very serious. We'll call it that. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully the Kings are able to, to add some depth, and hopefully the Flyers add some anything. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, at least you got some goaltending now. Thank goodness.
Yeah, we have goalies, but now we have no scoring.
Yeah.
So, oh well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But now, since we said you and I could talk about hockey for 10 hours straight, and that could be a whole other segment. But I wanted to talk to you about some things that are happening in your world. Anything you want to tell us about that you'll be participating in soon?
Well, hoping to be and am participating in to a certain degree. We were invited to the M.A.S.K cast. At least 4 of us, the ones who reside in L.A., were invited to Comic-Con, sort of a last-minute invitation for a potential 31st anniversary get-together. But it's still very tentative at this point, and I don't know if it's going to happen. If the whole cast doesn't make it there, I'm hoping that I might make it there, but that's still tentative.
Okay.
In conjunction with that, and it is kind of last minute, they're doing a Kickstarter. We have a gentleman from Marvel Comics who also happens to be a M.A.S.K fan who's trying to facilitate all this. And he's also started up a Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter, which the cast is participating in, at least Sharon Noble, Brendan McCain, Mark Halloran, and myself, involves people who can purchase autographed pictures. We're going to be taking group cast pictures, pictures with Brendan and I, who obviously played Miles among other characters, doing a sort of a face-off, Matt versus Miles, but it'll be me and Brendan, of course. And we'll be doing phone messages for people in character if they want to purchase that, where they can have Matt or Miles or Sly Rax or Vanessa or whomever be their outgoing phone message. So it's kind of fun. So he's got this Kickstarter started, and that's all pre-Comic-Con.
Okay.
And we're going to see how it's already underway, and we've got some buyers in there already. So that's kind of a fun thing.
I might have to get in on the phone message thing with Bruce Sato. You get a nice Bruce Sato saying. That's what I'd be aiming for. Can you give us a sample of something that you could do in Bruce Sato?
Bruce Sato?
For a phone message?
Bill is not available. Please be a gentleman or a lady and leave a very kind message. Thank you. Bruce, it has to be polite and it has to be soft.
Yes. That's Bruce to a T.
Yes. When I voiced him, I would often have my hands like this in front of the mic, doing it, Bruce, just to get the physicality proper for the attitude. As opposed to, Bruno or somebody who's, doing all this. But with Bruce, very different.
Would you do like a mesh of voices for the recording, or you just guys stick in the one, or hey, do you know how that's working?
Well, I hadn't even thought of that. He just had it as I think it's advertised as have Matt-Trakker do your voice message, or Boris Bushkin or whomever. You don't want too long an outgoing message anyway. People
sure.
Bored, so probably
no, definitely.
One character doing 10 to 15 seconds is probably max that anybody's going to want to hear anyway before they go. That was fun, Bill, but it went on too long. Call me. Bye.
I understand.
Manage it.
No, definitely. I was just curious if that was something going with that or not. I'll publish a link for the Kickstarter. I think I've already shared it a couple times on the Facebook page.
Right.
That after we get done with this, this is live, but it's also being recorded at Google, so we'll be able to put it all together, and definitely have that out there.
Cool.
And hopefully it'll help.
And hopefully it'll be fun for the fans that we've never, I think it was kind of cool when we started to talk about reunion of the cast. I thought that's a really cool idea, and having cast pictures and stuff is kind of a fun thing. Modern cast. Where are we today? Kind of cast pictures.
Most of you are in California.
Sorry.
Yes.
The California connection part. Graham McKenna, last I heard, was in New York, so I haven't spoken.
I believe so. I think. I don't know if you can see it. It's like right over my my shoulder here.
Right.
Point to it. I don't know if you remember, but I got that autograph by I think everybody except for Brennan Thick, because I didn't know how to get in touch with them. But I sent that around, and I'm pretty sure that was New York.
Probably.
Who knows?
Facebook, New York.
Okay. Yeah.
Brennan Thick, I think, sells real estate here in LA, I think, but I'm not sure how to get in touch with him either. I haven't talked to Brennan since the 80s.
Maybe talk to Alan, maybe.
Yeah, good old Alan. Alan and I were just like that. Or Robin, one of the guys. I'll ask Robin at the next party,
I think that's actually, I did it as one of the first interviews I did for the website. I think I reached out to Alan Thick's publicist, if I remember correctly. It was a long time ago. It's like 2002.
Right.
I think I reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, your son was Scott, right? On this, this 80s show that is kind of obscure. Would you want to reach out? Can you reach out and do an interview?" And he did. Yeah, but unfortunately, because he was so young, he didn't have a ton of memories from it.
Yeah.
But he was willing to participate in any way he could.
Oh, that's nice. He was a nice kid.
Yeah.
He was a nice kid when he was a little guy.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. No, it's surreal, and I'm really happy that you guys are offering that Kickstarter and get the fans a chance to interact with you guys a little bit. And I know that you do chat back and forth with people. You post something on Facebook, and you'll comment back, mostly on you usually do 3 posts a day, I think, right? And,
exactly. 3 comedic posts a day.
Yeah. So it's every so often I'll pop in there and I'll write something, and you respond to it, and it's just, it's appreciative, and I'm sure that anybody else that corresponds with you, I'm sure that they appreciate that too.
Well, it's social media. That's what it's for. I have to be honest, though, is that, as you probably noticed on Facebook, I don't publicize. There's some voice actors who have a site that's dedicated to their work, either
Yeah.
their main site or a secondary site. So they really encourage voiceover fans to join because they're publicizing themselves all the time, etc. I'm not doing that on Facebook. I got on Facebook just for fun and whatever. So I have got some friends who I don't know or didn't know before who came via being fans of M.A.S.K or other shows I've done. But it's not something that I encourage a great deal because I think they're going to be disappointed because I post very little about voiceover work on there, very little about career stuff. It's mainly just animal and funny and whatever. So
Yeah, but I mean, I like it because you're not like, it's not. I mean, I think the last time we talked, you were kind of, doing a little bit less with the voice acting, and it shows you as a person. It's not here, this, advertise this. I mean, I like that.
yeah.
And I'm just glad that I'm your friend on Facebook. So,
Oh, thank you.
so yeah. So yeah, like I said, I'll post the Kickstarter, and if there's any new information regarding Comic-Con, reach out and we'll get
For
it
sure.
out there. And I'll see if I can reach out to Bill too, and just offer any help I can provide too.
I'm
So
sure he'd appreciate that.
that'd be great. So we'll kind of segue into some of a lot. Well, there's been a lot of news with M.A.S.K lately, and so Hasbro. I don't know if last time we talked, Hasbro is doing like a cinematic universe similar to Marvel and DC comics, where they're taking entities, G.I. Joe, Transformers, M.A.S.K, and a few others, and they're
Right.
going to be making movies out of them. I don't know. I don't know if it's all be collaborative or if they're going to be single movies. But that's part of how. There's no information really on that yet, so I don't have anything to really talk about with that. But part of it, IDW Publishing is putting out a comic book called Revolution that combines M.A.S.K and those entities with a couple other ones, Visionaries, I think, and ROM, if I remember correctly. I wasn't really overly familiar with those, but I know about M.A.S.K, G.I. Joe, and Transformers naturally, because those are
I do have to
three.
show my shirt, by the way.
Yes,
So
yes. Yep, go ahead. Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
wore the appropriate shirt for this, but I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. That's the shirt that I think got from Jason and Wyatt, right? From the RetroCon.
Leprechaun, yeah.
Yes, and you're wearing your pin, right?
And I'm wearing my, if you can see this, Illusion is the Ultimate Weapon pin, which is, I think, rather a rare collector's item on the M.A.S.K.
I don't have it in anything that you see back here, so it's probably pretty rare.
Yeah, I've got one or two little things. I've got a pretty cool cell here. I don't know if that's glaring or not.
I can say it.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool cell that I got, and a couple of M.A.S.K toys. And I'm sorry I'm jumping in here, but I had these out just to show you some of the stuff that I do have from way back when. There we go. I'll stop.
It's all right. That was pretty neat, though. What was that? Was that from a comic? That last
This one was actually it was done that size. I don't know where they were posting these, but I guess they had them. It was Deke and LBS, et cetera, et cetera. It's okay, Pussycat. You'll hear cats in the background. America's leading kids television syndication network, LBS Communications. And this was, he's got Inspector Gadget on here and Heathcliff and other things as well as M.A.S.K. Brand new strip for 1985 and 86, so watch out for it, Bill. It'll be coming out soon. So this was, I guess, an advertising network where they were, and kindly, M.A.S.K was sort of the featured drawing on their posters.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty neat. Got to hang them up, though.
Yeah, I got to get them back up on the walls where they used to be.
So yeah, everything's kind of getting combined in there. So they're doing this. I think it's a 5-part series where they're taking this 5-part series. The Revolution is taking the cast, or not the cast, the characters
Right.
as they were, and the vehicles as they were, and they're combining it into this storyline. Don't have too much detail on it yet, on that version of it. But I know that they're making, I think Mayhem a little more ruthless
Right.
in it. So they have this 5-part series going on, and apparently it's supposed to give an origin story of Mask as well. But it's still a little off. We're still a couple months away from, I think, the first publication. I think it's November. But so that one there is combining all that. And what do you think of that combination? And then that combining in with the movies too. You think that it's necessary, um, to have them, I guess, have Mask kind of like piggyback off of those larger entities, which I think is a good idea, because as we know, Mask wasn't as popular as a like Transformers and GI Joe growing up,
Exactly.
but it was still popular. But to do that, I think it's a really good idea, and they're also trying to they're bringing a couple more things into it too. I just don't have that off the top of my head here. Micronauts, Action Man. I never heard of Action Man, I'll be honest. And Rom. So yeah, so they're it's gonna be interesting to see Optimus Prime fighting Matt-Trakker. Who knows what's gonna happen? So yeah.
Funny because I know some of the voice actors in the cast, so it's funny to. I'm envisioning it as, wouldn't it be funny if we were voicing it together, and suddenly I'm voicing up against guys that I've known for 25, 30 years, but they're from a different series, thrown together. It'd be kind of fun. I'm for it. It makes sense to me. Mask, as you say, is a little bit more of a niche cartoon compared to those other two, at least, that were huge success. And I think it might be a nice way to introduce it to people who maybe were G.I. Joe fans, massive G.I. Joe fans, who maybe Mask was just sort of in the peripheral of their minds. And if they see them together, they may go, hey, that's really cool. I forgot about that show. Or now I'm interested. I got to go back and watch some of those original shows or get some of the collectibles or whatever. So anything that puts it out there, I think, is a fun idea, as long as they're not disgracing or doing anything bad to the show itself. But other than that, if they're honoring the original show and its intent and everything else, then I think anywhere they put it's a cool thing, even if it's standing second in line to G.I. Joe. That's fine.
I like the idea that there's going to be a movie, but I kind of wish that this Revolution concept would be put into a cartoon, where maybe I don't know, somebody that I talk to occasionally could reprise his role as what's that guy's name? Matt-Trakker. So
Matt-Trakker.
Yeah.
You have to remind me. I'm just not up on all this nostalgia stuff, but it sounds familiar. Two T's, two K's. Is it?
Yep.
That's him. Yeah.
So that would be neat.
Like
I'd be more excited about that, I think, than a movie. Just because that would be more nostalgic for me. But again, I'm open to anything that's happening, and if there's any way that you or Sharon or Brendan or Mark or Graham could ever get back into the scene of this, any opportunity would be great too. Whether or not that ever happens, but I hope for it. I really do, because you guys were a great cast.
Well, it'd be fun, and I think everybody. I can't speak for the rest of the cast, but I'm sure that if they were given the opportunity, they'd jump on it to do some revoicing. I mean, everybody's moved on with their lives, and they're doing other things or whatever. Brendan, in particular, is he's working in law now, and so his time is very limited. But I would guess that if he had the opportunity to hit the mic again on a paying gig to do to do his characters that he'd jump at it, I would think.
It'd be neat. I don't. So it's kind of confusing right now. So the revolution part, and then we have basically a new mask,
Yeah.
but it's still based on the old and the old characters. All the names are kind of staying the same, but some of it's changing.
Yep.
And the most notable change so far has been with Matt-Trakker being African American. But
Mm-hmm. Which not many people know that about me. Because the people judge you by how you look. So
yeah, no, it's but I'm I think it's the storyline that they're kind of putting in place um, with the characters mostly surrounding Matt and Miles in this comic. From what, let me get this up here real quick. So basically, um, so the version of Mayhem they're going with, we'll talk about him first. He's devious, charismatic, lacks morals, and has little regard for human life.
always did.
Um, that's he had some of those characteristics in the show, but it sounds like they're going in a different direction where he's much more. I mean, just from reading it, I would say that's kind of more like much more devious, as they've said there, but like maybe more like I don't know, like a terrorist type feel. Like there's just that's them, and that's it. And so I don't know exactly how it is, but it sounds like he's going to be like just command
Darker.
of everything that he does, and darker. That's a good way to put it. So do you like that aspect? Do you think
Sure.
do you think
I, I mean, it's 31 years later. The world has changed.
yes.
The world that we're viewing has changed. What our adversaries look like and behave like has changed. So I can understand, cranking it up and making it a little more modern. He always was ruthless, but there was a bombastic aspect to him that was a little comedic at times.
Yeah.
Tear those masks, no gooders, whatever stuff. That was maybe wouldn't have been a characteristic of somebody who was quietly ruthless and murderous. So I'm guessing by that maybe they're going to bring him down a little bit in that aspect. But I can see it. The same as I can understand modernizing Matt to some extent. I hope they still make him a single dad, but because I thought that was a nice aspect to Matt-Trakker.
Well, from my understanding, they're not using Scott or T-Bob.
Okay.
So, and he looks like he's about 20 years old, whereas Mayhem looks like he's about mid 60s. So it's kind of an odd dynamic because in the old comics and the cartoon, Matt was probably, I don't know, early 30s maybe, and Mayhem was
40 something.
Yeah, something like that. It's just that's what it looks like from the pictures, but I can't say that for sure. I don't have the
They were supposed to be to some extent contemporaries.
Okay.
There was an age difference, I think, but they were supposed to be contemporaries to a certain degree. So certainly 20 and 60 does not lend itself to that.
That's what it looks like anyway, from my standpoint. But I could be wrong, and they could probably change some of their prototype pictures around here. But so they have new comic. They're going Mayhem, Rax, and Vanessa. It looks like initially. I don't know if they're going to add in other characters, but not having Cliff Dagger is kind of sad for me. He was one of my favorite characters. And then so we go to the M.A.S.K team. So right now it looks like you have Matt, Gloria, Brad, and Julio. I was kind of confused at first when I saw this because Julio, the character, was used very seldomly, and I was kind of surprised that Bruce wasn't one of the main characters,
Sure,
or
Dusty,
Dusty,
Hondo.
Alex, Hondo, uh, and one of the really good things that Mask has done, um, back in the mid '80s, having Hondo, having Julio, having Nevada, they out, Ali Bombay, they brought in different parts of the world, different ethnicities, but
Don't
different.
forget Boris Rushkin.
Yes, Boris. Yes. So they did that, and it was a big thing,
It was really
to do that. And now, um, well, like I said earlier, Matt's African American. Well, I don't see a problem with that. I personally can't wait for it because it sounds like he has a pretty nice background of what they're going to do with this comic. Whether or not this is going to be what we see in the movies or whatever else happens, who knows?
yeah,
But basically, what they're talking about here, let's see. So Matt's an engineering genius and a natural talent for science who comes from a deeply troubled background. So right there, that's completely opposite of the character that you played.
yeah,
Well, I mean, he was probably an engineering genius, but the troubled background part of it,
yeah,
I don't think he had that.
no,
The loss of his father at a young age sent Matt sprawling into grief, and because he couldn't handle his emotional pain, he became a delinquent. Um, see, let's see. So basically, it sounds like M.A.S.K is kind of like a military entity. Let's see, and a core part of the series is going to be how Matt grows from like a delinquent to a leader, a
Mhm.
resolute leader. So initially, he's going to be a pain in the butt. It sounds like, and then he grows to Matt. So maybe we're going to see a lot of growth here, and maybe a couple of years down the road, there'll be Scott somewhere.
Right.
But having Scott right now, I don't think it'll work because
No, not with that.
looking at the picture, I said it looks like he's about 20.
Yeah.
And Scott he was probably about 12, right? So I don't know, unless he
No,
adopts them. But I don't think a troubled delinquent's going to adopt somebody that's 12 years old at the moment. But how do
and
you feel
20
about some of
doesn't have
the
to have a
some of
12-year-old.
these new designs you're seeing here?
Yeah, I've
I
looked
think
at some of the drawings were pretty cool.
they hold true to the old color patterns, and
Yeah,
um, they stay true as much as they could, but they modernized it a little bit.
yeah,
The one thing we haven't seen in this series is the vehicles.
yeah.
Um, so we're still waiting on that. But if you want to talk a little bit about uh, the new, Matt-Trakker and Gloria, and what your opinion is of it.
Well, I liked the drawings. They were they were kind enough. Some people sent them to me a couple of weeks ago, and a few more a few days ago. So I've had a chance to look them over. Um, and actually, let me look and see. I'm just going to slide my screen over. I think I may have something on the vehicles. And I now have a cat joining me here too. So the cat in front of the screen.
Okay.
He's been rubbing up against my hand while we were talking, but as soon as I moved my hands up, she came up here to join me. Come here, baby. Oh, yeah, I do have a drawing. I don't know if I'm blocking the screen with this or not when it comes up on my computer, but this drawing I can send to you does have some of the vehicles in it, and it's
Okay.
from the same series. I believe it's from the Revolution, and there's even some of the characters in it are not at all familiar looking to me. With their the style of masks and whatever is very different. But it's reminiscent. Some of the flying, I can see some of the planes and stuff, when they've gone into plane mode, and that looks very reminiscent of the original. And I do see my vehicle in here looks very reminiscent. So it seems to be a combination, which I like. A combination of the retro. Move the screen back here again for me. A combination of the retro with modernization, and I think that's cool. I mean, it's like when they redid the Batman franchise.
Mhm.
They couldn't do it the way it originally stood, or it would have just been sort of clunky, and people would have just viewed it as nostalgia with no modern aspect to it and said, well, great,
Yeah.
fine for older people who remember Batman. But because they gave it modern aspects and darkened it and added aspects of modern society into it, it became something palatable for everybody, old and new. So I think that's a smart way to do things. But I like when you honor the old. I don't like if they would just take it all and throw it out. I think that's a shame because you've got a fan base, you got people who've loved it since they were kids.
Mhm.
You don't want to alienate them and you don't want to dishonor what they remember. But at the same time, yeah, I gear it up, modern it, slick it down. You know, the machines can't operate the same way they did 30 years ago. They get blown out of the sky. They've got to have they've got to have new ways of fighting, new weaponry, et cetera, for the modern age.
Yeah, no, imagine that's 30 years later cartoon and Thunderhawk is still the original one. yeah, yeah, exactly. So no, I like the idea of it, and I'm not I love the comic book genres, but I never really collected comics or read them. I was mostly like just the entities of it, and watching a lot of the shows when I was younger. But these are going to be some of the first comics I'm actually going to buy, just because I can't wait to see new M.A.S.K. And it's hard to have any problems with anything, to be honest. I'm excited, and like I said, I really hope that all of this somehow transpires into something that you guys can jump back into at some point, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't. Is there any powers that you would like the Spectrum Mask to have that you didn't have back in the day?
I'm
it had a lot. It had a lot.
To vacuum my place, the power to cook me dinner, the power to clean those top shelves that I have to get up on a ladder to reach. When you're older, you're looking for different kinds of powers. The power to lift
clean the cat box. Yeah.
No, I hadn't. I mean, I could speculate, but I hadn't really thought about it. But if I was crime fighting with a mask on, I would certainly like something that could not only deal with metal weaponry, but the new modern plastic weaponry and whatever, and somehow negate guns from firing, somehow block a gun before it could do massive damage to people, automatic weapons and whatnot. That would be nice. My nature would be I'd want weaponry that could stop other weaponry as much as destroy other weaponry. I'd like to have weaponry that could just stop destruction from taking place and then move forward, perhaps into negotiations. But if not, stopping crime. But that would be my fantasy, I guess, off the top of my head.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like the.
It would make Jessica Alba see me as a 20-year-old, through some certain glasses. If you put on the mask, that would be good.
I don't know if that exists yet.
No, unfortunately not. At least still, I can't find it on the internet, and God knows I've been searching. But no, I don't think you have the Jessica Alba fool her into thinking Doug Stone's 20 glasses anywhere on the internet.
Not on Amazon Prime?
I've checked.
What about the virtual reality goggles that Samsung has?
Maybe that would do it. I don't know. I'll have to check Craigslist. Maybe they're right on Craigslist, and I just haven't looked.
Well, I mean, do you have anything else you want to talk about? Or last time we went for like an hour and 45 minutes. Figure this time we'll go a little shorter.
Yeah. I don't have anything new in the M.A.S.K. realm. Cartoon-wise, I still am keeping active. If it's probably not the same fan base, but it just occurred to me, if anybody's a fan of Lego Heart-Like City, it's really more for little kids series. But on Netflix and also on the internet, there's a series, Friends of Heart-Like City, Lego series, and I'm the mayor on that series. So
great.
Out there right now.
My niece and nephew love Legos.
Cool. They might enjoy it.
I do too. They're fun to, they were up here a couple weeks ago and we built Legos together. It was fun. So I'll have to get them to check that out. Yeah,
it's fun. I like him. He's he's bombastic. He's sort of a Danny DeVito type, very bombastic, sneaky type. He's more Miles Mayhem than he is Matt-Trakker, but more comedic Miles, not evil Miles. And got a film coming out in September called The Wildlife. 3D film that Lionsgate's going to be distributing. I have done films for this company before, but they're primarily released in Europe. The last one being Thunder in the House of Magic, which was a 3D film that I had a larger role in as a very benevolent ex-magician retiree, a New Englander, a very nice old fellow. And it was a fun film, 3D film. But it only got limited distribution in the U.S. But the company's doing the 3D they're producing is so amazing. That they've now gotten, despite the Disneys and everybody else that they've got to go up against, They're getting a U.S. distribution. So in September, this one will be coming out. It's based on Robinson Crusoe, and I've seen some of the animation, and it's amazing. The 3D animation is just incredible.
Sounds nice.
It's really cool. I have a smaller role in that one. I'm a Scottish dog in this one, so it's not a large role.
Well, I mean, at least you're voicing something that you love. So
yeah, it's still fun.
Yeah,
it's still fun. Yeah, I still work about once a week.
Okay.
3 to 4 times a month, I'll go out and voice something, be it anime or dubbing films or original animation or whatever it may be. But usually that kind of work, not so much. I never was really into commercials. If one came along. Oh, actually, though, Psycho Mantis just did a commercial.
Yeah.
Ford Fusion.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, I couldn't find the what was it, Hot Pockets or
Hot Pockets commercials.
I couldn't find it. I looked actually after our last conversation. I looked a little bit online. I was just trying to.
Well, they were the early and mid '90s, so they may nobody may have it's possible nobody downloaded them. I'll have to look and see.
It off a VHS tape.
I'll see if I can get it someplace, but yeah, they're probably on somebody's old VHS somewhere. But I said about 18 years old, and like I've just had helium and speed when I do those commercials. Really had to talk fast.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. I appreciate your time. And hopefully the Kings and Flyers meet in the finals this year.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. 7 games.
Yes. Thank you, sir. And I will talk to you later.
Okay, man. Thanks.